A 1972 study out of MIT predicted that society will collapse within the 21st century, and a new analysis of that study shows us that we are right on schedule.
You see, in 1972, some brilliant minds at MIT conducted a study that has left many think tanks dumbfounded. The MIT study predicted that our society is on course to collapse by the year 2040. As if the MIT study wasn't already scary, another analysis by a KPMG analyst predicted that we might be ahead of schedule. But is our society really at risk of extinction? And does any of these predictions hold water? Well, let's look at some of the economic factors behind these predictions and see if we should be worried or if these predictions are just another statistical coincidence. Now, let's dial back into history. Over the last 10,000 years, we have watched the rise and fall of great empires, from the sheer grandeur of ancient Roman empires to the mystique of the Aztec empires. While these great empires were once praised by high heavens, they eventually crumbled, leaving behind mere fragments of their past glory. In all of these, historians have pinpointed 4 critical factors that contributed to these collapses: political, social and cultural, environmental, and of course, the one we are interested in, economic issues. Meanwhile, our modern civilization is unarguably the most advanced and prosperous ever known. If you're watching this video right now, it means that you've connected to a vast source of knowledge that even kings and scholars a mere century ago could not access, no matter how wealthy they were. And let's not forget some of the luxuries we often take for granted: affordable housing, access to quality healthcare, instant communications, clean potable water, food, and much more. Without mincing words, we truly live in an age of wonder. Our society today has produced some of the wealthiest men ever known, including Elon Musk, who is reportedly worth over $270 billion. You see, Elon Musk is so wealthy that his net worth fluctuates daily. Heck, he might even be worth more than that by the time you finish watching this video. Now, let's put things in perspective. While historical figures such as the great Rockefeller, Henry Ford, and Rothschild were insanely wealthy during their time, their sprawling wealth couldn't give them access to some of the amenities we think nothing of in our modern society. What's even more interesting is that despite what the media might suggest, our society is enjoying one of the most peaceful periods in human history. Our world today is shaped by state-of-the-art technology, education, and global cooperation. Even countries that have been loggerheads now find themselves interdependent, relying on each other for progress. Yes, it may sound cliche, but the reality is, getting rich beats getting hostile. However, despite the insane progress we have witnessed in our modern world, we still have our own peculiar challenges. Comparing our modern global economy to those of great empires is akin to comparing a jet engine to a donkey. While the jet engine is swift and more powerful than anything found in ancient empires, it is also far less resilient. One flaw, and its intricate network of highly advanced components could come crashing down. But before we start sounding like conspiracy theorists and deranged doomsday preppers, let's focus on MIT's study and its projection on the eventual collapse of our society. What metrics did MIT consider to determine whether our society was heading in a positive or negative direction? What truths did these metrics reveal about the potential breakdown of our society? Lastly, is the fact that this report is ahead of schedule something we should be worried about? Or could it just be a case of placing too much emphasis on statistical correlation? Let's find out. The MIT study, carried out in 1972, specifically titled "The Limits of Growth," was intended to determine whether our current resource consumption is sustainable. Guess what? It wasn't. The groundbreaking study was well ahead of its time as the team of researchers built computer models to explore complex economic systems. We know you can't wait to get all the juicy details, so let's cut to the chase and jump right into it. Back in the 60s and early 70s, the computers available were nothing close to what we have today. However, despite access to limited technology, the brilliant team of MIT researchers built a powerful computer model they called World 3. The computer was designed to simulate the entire global economy. The model considered several factors, including industrial capacity, population growth, and their interconnection.
Each of these lines of letters represents a curve showing some aspect of the condition of the planet.
The main crux of the study was to capture the intricate dynamics of our modern lifestyle. The results of the study painted a complex picture. While on the one hand, Our modern civilization has made unprecedented strides, especially in terms of wealth generation and technological advancement. On the flip side, the study highlighted a concerning trend. It revealed a strain on finite resources, rising income inequality, and the potential consequences of environmental degradation.
The N curve, and it shows that slowly but steadily the pool of natural wealth in the world, natural resources, minerals, oil and so on, is slowly but steadily diminishing.
Here is a kicker. Every change we make in the economy affects multiple other aspects of our life. It's like a ripple effect. Take, for instance, a declining birth rate can result in an aging population. And should that ever be the case, it will place a financial burden on younger workers. As if that's not already enough scare, an outcome like that will also influence their ability to start families of their own, resulting in further declining birth rates. As much as we would like to argue it, these feedback loops can remarkably shape the trajectory of our society. Still on the MIT study, the team of researchers focused on 5 major variables: population, industrial input, pollution, and available resources. Interestingly, this study was conducted years before the debate on climate change. If the study was conducted today, we are sure the team would have considered a variable like average global temperatures. Nonetheless, understanding the interactions between these variables is critical to understanding the study's findings. Now, let's closely examine the data generated by this report. You see, the researchers from MIT were smart enough not to make precise predictions about the future, since that's nearly impossible to do, regardless of the data available to anyone. So what did they do? Well, they simply ran dozens of simulations with different assumptions. While some scenarios assumed constant innovations, others explored technological breakthroughs like space resource harvesting and lab-grown food. They also considered lower birth rates, high rates of recycling, as well as different variations of global trade. By averaging the trajectories of these critical factors, the team of researchers from MIT found a common trend among the various simulations: a significant decline around the year 2040. Although we can't address every possible outcome, MIT study's main focus was on scenarios falling within the standard deviation of these potential results. Overall, it provided some valuable insight into the challenges that may confront our society in the coming decade. So what does this mean for a society to be on track to collapse? Well, it doesn't imply an overnight catastrophe or a sudden doomsday scenario. Instead, it suggests a gradual erosion of the systems and structures that sustain our way of life. It's more like a slow unraveling, where the challenges and imbalances become increasingly difficult to manage, potentially leading to social unrest, economic instability, and ecological breakdown. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. The KPMG analysis conducted more recently predicts that we might be ahead of schedule in this downward spiral. The analysis raises the question of whether we are experiencing a more accelerated decline than initially anticipated. Nevertheless, it's critical to approach such assumptions with caution. While statistical correlations provide valuable insight, the reality is they don't always paint the full picture. So it's crucial to consider other variables that could influence these predictions and evaluate them critically. While it's easy to get caught up in the web of alarmist narratives, we must equally remember the power of human innovation and adaptability. Throughout history, we have encountered numerous challenges, and time and again, we have found ways to surmount them. Our never-say-never spirit and ability to collaborate, innovate, and find solutions have proven to be remarkable. So, should we be worried about the possible collapse of our society by the year 2040? Well, it's quite a tricky question, one with no easy answer. It's critical to be aware of the challenges we face and work collectively towards sustainable solutions. We must begin to work together to make a difference. We can each play our part by adopting more responsible and mindful practices in our daily lives. More importantly, we must encourage policies and actions that prioritize long-term well-being over short-term gains. Ultimately, the future is not set in stone. If there is anything we have learned from the MIT study, it is the fact that we must strive for sustainable practices and make informed choices. While the future is uncertain, we have the power to shape it by embracing innovation, promoting responsible resource management, and fostering global cooperation. And that's it for today's discussion. Thanks for watching today's video. If you want more exciting videos like this one, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Cheers!